Hello
and welcome back to, or welcome to my channel. I'm Haya and you're watching Haya Guys. Anyways, so today, if you have been watching my recent videos, today's video setup is a little different because I don't feel like using my lamp, and I was like, you know what, the natural sunlight is seeping in through my curtains. I was like, okay, why not actually use it to my advantage? And yeah. Today I wanted to look into sadness portrayed in art, mostly in the medieval era and times around then. Nowadays, sadness is something that is meant to be cured. It's not something to be proud of, or, it's not something to celebrate. But for most of history, sadness was studied and celebrated. It was feared and even believed to be necessary for artistic geniuses. Because to be sad meant to emphasize with others and have a deep and poetic view in life. So that just meant that sadness was very necessary for artists, and it was artistic to be sad. Before depression had a name, artists still continued to paint sadness in artworks. An example of this is Melancholia 1, painted in 1514 by Albrecht Dürer. I don't know how to say his name. Melancholia is a deep state of sadness and despair, and it is often used in literature to describe somber moods or a heavy heart. But in medicine and psychiatry, it refers to a severe form of clinical depression. In the 15th century, the Renaissance was at its peak in Europe, but that didn't change the fact that Europe as a continent was still torn between geopolitical shifts and rising absolute monarchies, along with religious crusades going wrong and turning into bloody civil wars. And obviously that took a toll on Europe's citizens, so what better way to express your sadness
other than to paint it?
And you can see that with a lot of paintings that I'm about to list out. There will be sad saints in pictures, mourning figures, grieving mothers, lots of religious art during this era. An example of famous religious art of the 15th century is Lamentation of Christ, 1919. Lamentation of Christ, 1483 by Andre Mantegna. In the picture, you can see the Virgin Mary, saints, and followers of Christ gathering around his body and openly grieving. The Pieta by Giovanni Benelli is an artwork from early Renaissance, created during 1960 to 1965. The Virgin Mary is once again with Jesus Christ and weeping as she cradles his head with mourning figures beside them. And the last piece of religious artwork that I wanted to discuss is The Descent from the Cross by this guy's name, because I can't say it, in 1435, where Christ's body is lowered from the cross as his mother and companions all collapse in grief. Centuries later, during the Romantic movement, which was an era marked from the 18th to mid-19th century, sadness became increasingly personal. Artists began using their work not only to depict their own feelings and suffering, but to express their own emotions and loneliness. The Romantic movement emerged as a passionate rebellion against the scientific rationality of the Enlightenment and the rule-bound, really strict nature of neoclassicism. Its core characteristics include glorification of nature, with artists depicting awe-inspiring and wild landscapes, along with deep emotional extremes that focused on heroism, terror, and melancholy, and the depths of the human psyche. And finally, we have individualism and imagination, which was a push against academic traditions by championing the subjective and unique version of the individual. The Monk by the Sea is an artwork created during 1808 and 1810 by Caspar David Friedrich. It features a solitary monk standing in front of a vast and empty seascape, and I guess in a way it does emphasize isolation and the overwhelming power of nature that humans tend to underestimate. The Raft of Medusa is an artwork by Theodore Géricault, I think that's how you pronounce his name, from 1818 to 1819, where it shows shipwreck survivors clinging onto a makeshift raft and are caught between despair and hope as they struggled to survive. But just so y'all know, like, they wouldn't be struggling to survive if I was there. Like, I would definitely have saved them. It's like not on my watch.